I'm just doing a lip stitch, which is just round and round and round and round. I found if you put your thumb on the thread as it's going in, it doesn't tangle quite as much. Remove it at the very last minute. So when I don't do that, it gets more tangled. I wonder if we can hear Moana in the background. Oh no. I got caught on the edge of my desk. Made a bit of a knot. Nothing a bit of patience can't solve, though. Just got this bit of a mess here. But patience always wins out, coaxing it back free. Almost. Almost. There we go. See, nothing a little bit of patience can't solve. Go back to holding the one, so the other doesn't tangle around it. Another thing that would help with the tangling and the twisting, because if you see, let's see if it'll focus for me. If you see this thread, it's all twisted along itself. And if you wax your thread, it doesn't do that as much. Which I should really get some wax. Oh hey, Germ! How are you? Oh no, not sick. Yeah. I am doing well. Doing very well. I was hanging out most of the day in contact lenses, which I've never used before. And I got fitted for them today. And so my eyes are really tired. So this is an interesting project to do with that. But that's all right. What are you up to this evening? I actually liked them a lot. It was really weird because I've been wearing glasses for 10 years, and I never even considered contacts, to be honest. Really, it won't be an everyday thing. I'll continue with my glasses for the most part, but they'll be for in bed sweating. Oh, great. From the sickness, I'm assuming? Or is it hot where you are? I don't remember where you are. I prefer the look of glasses, actually. At least on myself. But I really enjoyed wearing them. It was fun. USA East Coast. Is it warm there? Are you sweating because you're sick? I did ask you. If you're sweating because of your location or if you're sweating because you're sick. Oh no, that's the worst. Especially when you're cold and still sweating. Ugh. Tangling myself here. That's the worst. I am in Canada. In Alberta, actually. So it's only just starting to kind of sort of warm up. Sort of. Which means not minus 40, which is the same in Celsius and Fahrenheit. Anything loose in minus 40? Well, it got down to minus 53, I think, this year. And I asked my husband why we live here. Minus 53 Celsius. Not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. Minus 40 is minus 40. It's very cold, and you do have to make sure that you're being smart in how you dress. It is definitely very cold, and I'm not a fan when it reaches those temperatures. So I'm not sure if you popped in when I explained what I was doing here, but I'm going to whip stitch around the entire outside. Well, sorry. I'm going to whip stitch the bottom edge. So we're just going to whip stitch here. And then I'm going to put the boning in the channels. I'm fairly certain it will fit in all the channels that need it to fit in them. With me closing the bottom. And then we'll close the top, and then we're going to close it. It's going to look something like this when it's done. So eventually this is going to be, a bias is going to be put on this. But for now, it just kind of looks like this, a little bit raw. So that's what the plan is today. Let's see, if you're on the East Coast, it's probably 11:30? That's late. You're up late, my friend. Likes to catch around my ring when I do it this way. How long have you been a seamstress? Honestly, I've been kind of hand sewing things since I was little, but not, like, usually they're just winging it projects. So rice bags and things like that. Repairing things that have been ripped. Stuff like that. It's only been recently that I've decided to hand sew an entire, all the undergarments for 18th century. Eventually I'm going to make a dress. I don't think I'll hand sew the dress though. That seems a little daunting. Not the first one anyways that I make. But that's just been recently. I started the stays in the summer, but I kind of ran out of steam. You slept all day. That's fair. That's fair. Sickness will do that to you. And yeah, I agree. Hand sewing a dress sounds insane. I mean, people do it all the time, especially when they're recreating 18th century wardrobes, as one does. But you know what? Even my materials for this weren't very accurate. It's I want to say it's just upholstery fabric, and they didn't actually have the fiber content. Definitely not appropriate for the time, but it's cute. So there's that. It does have a nice color to it. I like the other side as well. Like it's the reverse. The reverse is the reverse. Hold on. So I like that one as well. It frays like nothing else though. I don't know if you can see that. But I could just pull this whole thing apart thread by thread. See what happens when I don't put my thumb in front? It gets a little tangly. But yeah, the practice has been nice to hand sew a project that's so large with many different stitches to it. And using boning is very satisfying. I'm excited to put it all together. I'm not excited to put the bias around it all. Bias tape, just to kind of go around all the edges, because they look like this. This was in the summer when I was just starting, so this wasn't quite as... I boned it first. I put the boning in and then I stitched and it started falling apart. So I had to basically sew the material back together. So it doesn't look very pretty. But I'm going to be putting... I wonder if I have it with me. Hold on one second. Okay, in theory, this is going around it. Yeah. So that's going to both make sure that it is nice and rigid and not falling apart any longer, because it'll all be contained in this. This doesn't do it justice, but basically this is going to go around the edges. Honestly, it's probably going to look very similar to that. Because I'm winging it, you see. And apparently this area in here is going to be the hardest. So we'll see. Gonna have some fun when it gets to that. I've got quite a ways to go before I get there, though. Oh, you are awake. She got ready to come stream with me. I moved over towards my computer and she got up off the bed and came over. She likes it. She gets attention. I'm sure she sees eyes on her. I know, because she's tiny and my webcam only comes so far. I wonder if I can make it zoom. Hold on. Let's see if I can make it zoom. And this webcam also is from the 2004 or 2005 maybe. So the quality is horrible. But you can enjoy her ridiculous little oof. Is that better? Or did I make it worse? Because that specific webcam is so old. Right? It was top of the line. It's a Logitech still, and it's an Orbisphere, I think it's called. It can rotate, by like I didn't touch it at all, and like it can rotate, which is nice. The one that I have looks better than my 2018 phone. Yeah, right. The one that I have for me doesn't move. Actually, neither does this one, but it's on an arm. It's on a boom. But that one I can pivot without touching it. It's kind of cool. And it tracks faces if you tell it to. So that's fun. So you can watch Pixelated Pip. I wonder if I should like title it. This is my dog. See, there's a dog under there. She's just tiny. Oh, sorry. Gonna mute that. There we go. Sorry about that. Back to figuring out where my threads went. So it'll help with the fraying as well, going around here before I put in the boning. I learned that when I did it the first time, and all of this, like, look, can you see that how much it's shifted in here? I had to try to sew it all back together because all of this was coming off, and then I wouldn't have had any of this, which means that the boning, which is literally all the way to the edge, wouldn't have been able to be in here. What a gong show. But I learned a lot doing it that way. And it's gonna be covered anyways. We'll be fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. So this is the area that I have to be the most careful with, because if I pull too hard, as you can see, it just starts coming apart. And that's not good. Do you like it? I like it. It makes me happy, but if you don't like it, I can switch it. I wanted something chill, and I'm quite enjoying the tavern-y. Makes me want to have a pint or something. I've been using it for the last two streams and then this one. I might have started it actually in the very first stream. I think at the end of it, I wanted something more chill than music. That like with lyrics. Well, welcome to my stream. I've seen you elsewhere, so we frequent the same areas. Rose. Yes, Malice and Demi's rooms. That's right. I knew you were at in Demi's. I didn't remember Malice. But yes. See, I'm gonna have to go back. Let's see. There we go. Are you gonna focus though? Focus on it. You see how it's just coming apart? And my stitch is here. And this is just falling apart. So I'm gonna go back up and come back down. Because my stitch is over here. And so all of these threads that were there are just pulling off. Very frustrating. Oh yeah, they totally do, but I don't have enough room to do that and fit the boning. So yes, generally, yes, that is the way to do it. But I wouldn't have room to shove some bones in there. Super glue, yes. Decently sure that they had that in the 18th century, right? So I'm gonna watch this side while I do it. That might be helpful. The problem that I might come into doing it this way as well, though, is that the bones still might not fit. Because before I could work around them. I wonder what Native Americans used to sew with. That's a good question. Probably. Yeah, my husband just said it. Probably something like porcupine quills or sharpened sticks. Stuff for that matter. There we go. Now it's not falling apart. It's a little far. Collecting porcupine quills. Like, I mean, I'm sure they had enough come back to them in other forms. Like, you know, maybe... Oh, hey, Pig Pie. I was gonna say, maybe they had dogs or something that the porcupines attacked, and they took the quills from that. Or, you know, they shot a porcupine with an arrow and pulled their quills out. Alright. I think we're doing a little bit better. Those darn slippery threads that want to pull out. Not today, threads. We're gonna have to see if I can fit. I am still making the stays. I don't know if you were actually here any of my other ones where I was making this. So it's going to be a very long project. This is what I'm going to be making. 18th century stays, which is basically a corset from the 1700s. Nice and supportive. Not quite like... thought they were gloves. No, it's a stays, and it's like a corset, only it doesn't shape as extremely. It's more similar to a bra for like the stove. Oh, nope.